It's my old friend, Evan. We met in the hallway today for the first time. Traded emails for the first time, I think, a day or two ago, so him and I go way back. Well, as he alluded, again, Mike Moriarty, I'm with Kansas DOT. I'm our Chief of Transportation Planning. I'm not new to that role. I am new to passenger rail. We did have a guy, John Maddox, who's kind of been our point person for all things rail. It was becoming kind of a heavy burden for John to focus on passenger rail and freight rail, so we made a decision to kind of have me help out with the passenger rail thing. So I've been in this game for about 8 weeks. It's been a bit of a baptism by fire, given the issues on the chief, the conversations with the flyer. I've been to New Mexico. We had our meeting out there, I guess back in August, had an emergency type meeting to discuss the issues on the chief. I was at MIPRC last week up in Milwaukee, so you know the old fire hose story, right? It's been several fire hoses, so it's been fun. I really enjoy this topic. A couple things Evan, I think, wanted me to talk about. First of all is the state passenger rail fund, which was established by statute back in 2012. I think the genesis for that statute was the service development plan that was undertaken back in 2011 for the Heartland Flyer. I think that study process, that planning process, showed that there was some need there, which led to that statute being passed. In addition to that, I think an additional statute was passed requiring the state of Kansas to become a member of MIPRC, which I think was a good thing as well. So again, that fund was established in 2012. It gave the Secretary of Transportation the authority to establish the passenger rail fund. That fund could be used for a wide range of expenses, capital costs, startup costs, operating expenses, things of that nature. As it just so happens, though, for the last 6 years, no secretary has chosen to utilize or fund that program. Now, I don't think that says that KDOT does not support passenger rail. We certainly do. We've been a part of 3 Tiger opportunities now, all of which have been successful, as Matt pointed out. All told, we have about $5 million in passenger rail in Kansas. And that may not sound like much, but that $5 million did leverage an additional $66 million in investment from state, federal, and local sources. So we do feel good about that. I am proud to report we submitted a letter of support, make sure I get this right, to Colorado DOT a couple of days ago. Our commitment now is $5 million for passenger rail in Kansas. It's now $6 million total for passenger rail. CDOT is submitting a CRISI application for PTC enhancements between Dodge City and Los Alamos, Colorado. So that application's been submitted. KDOT has committed $1 million towards that as well. We're hopeful that gets selected. Again, as Matt alluded, and by the way, I'm glad Matt went first, because he's just said so much. It makes it easier for me. PTC is a big issue on that corridor, and this is a giant step towards addressing some of those needs. The other issue on that corridor is annual operating expenses. I think from Amtrak's standpoint, they feel like it's a pretty big number. And PTC does carry an annual maintenance cost with it as well, so those costs will increase. I think a big issue for Amtrak, though, and I know they're not here, and I don't want to speak for them, but my understanding, a big issue for them is there's a 200-mile section in Colorado and New Mexico where they're the sole user of that corridor. So that means they're on the hook for all the operating expenses there. So that's a big concern for them. And I believe that is the only long-distance route where they are the sole user and responsible for those costs. So that's a big deal for them. Matt alluded that we have a joint legislative transportation task force underway right now. And this is a group of legislators, elected officials, representatives from the private sector, contractors, railroads, you name it, okay? And their mission is to evaluate the current transportation network here in Kansas, evaluate the usage of state funds as well as our policies, and make recommendations regarding transportation system needs over the next 10 years and beyond. And that doesn't just mean highway, that means aviation, that means bike ped, it means rail, both freight and passenger rail. There's been a lot of conversations. We had a meeting in Newton a week or two ago, a meeting in Garden City yesterday. Passenger rail was discussed at length at both of those events. So I think it's alive and well, it's on people's minds, and our task force is hearing about it. So while KDOT has not participated in the past in terms of annual operating subsidies and state-sponsored service, that may change coming through this task force process. So more to be told at some point, I think, from that standpoint. Matt talked about Tiger programs, projects, KDOT support. We're happy about that. Again, the Chrissy PTC. I was at MIPRC, was it last week in Milwaukee? Lots of conversations about the Southwest Chief. Lots of conversations about the Heartland Flyer, how those two come together. I think it's a major topic regionally, so the other states are talking about these two areas as well. In Raton, that was back in August. To the guys from New Mexico, had a delightful time in Raton. I got there early, spent the night. Wonderful town, great downtown. I had a lovely, delightful time in Raton. Good meeting. I'd say there was unanimous support for the Southwest corridor. 8 weeks, remember? Southwest unanimous support for it, which is what we expected, right? Tremendous partners with CDOT and New Mexico DOT. These people are very rail savvy. They want to see the Chief be a successful corridor, as is Kansas. I would say, again, Amtrak's concern, as Matt alluded, is with PTC on that section, which has led them to their throughway bus service proposal. I would also say, again, Amtrak voiced the annual operating expenses was a big concern for them as well. Very real issues, don't get me wrong. But I do think the conversations are positive right now, and we shouldn't be too far, I think, from a workable solution, hopefully. Evan, that's about all I've got. Is there anything else you want me to discuss? Is that one thumb up or two? I'd be happy to stand for any questions. Again, 8 weeks.
On this PTC, and I understand the PTC, that 200 miles you're talking about, Amtrak's the sole operator. Are you saying that they're the only ones who operate on that 200 miles?
That's correct. It's the
Why do they need PTC if they're the only two trains? You got 3 and 4, that's it.
I think that has to do, and again, I don't want to speak for Amtrak, but with their company policy of only operating on PTC in the corridors, because of the issues they've had out east and west. Both of which, from my conversations with Ray Lang, were PTC preventable. They don't want to put themselves in a position where something can happen, even on a corridor where they're the only train running. I think a lot of, again, I'm 8 weeks. I think a lot of the issues, both out east and west, were speed related, and they don't want to see another speed related issue on this 200-mile section either.
If I may, this isn't a question, but to that question, I'm almost certain also that federal law requires there to be PTC. There have been extensions in how long it takes to come into compliance with federal law, but at some point, at least in the near future, all tracks are going to need PTC and or be able to run safely without PTC, which in this case would likely be lowering the speed of that section.
On the PTC part of things, again, there's exemptions within that law, and that 200-mile piece, it's the exemption.
It could be exempt, and again, I don't want to speak for Amtrak. My understanding is they don't want to even entertain a corridor with an exemption. I think they're trying to be as steadfast as they can with PTC.
And a lot of it, in the long term, logically, that makes sense. Seeing that,
That's what was their first episode.
For the people with PTC questions for New Mexico, and if you want to take this for yourself as well. Amtrak at our last rally meeting did state that they want to achieve PTC equivalency on the Raton Moriarty Pass However, I did speak to BNSF, and they did state that it is up to speed requirements in regards to passenger rail, so they did mention that that route does have a PTC exemption waiver for Matone to pass. In regards to Albuquerque to Rainy, that is operated by the New Mexico Department of Transportation and New Metro Regional Transit. They, however, don't have a PTC exemption from Albuquerque to Rainy. However, they did receive $30.2 million in PTC funding. Currently, right now, from what Amtrak has informed us, is that they have a contingency plan to still operate service past 2019 certain.
What was the figure to, I guess, install the PTC on that 200 mile and to maintain it on a yearly basis?
I don't have the numbers with me. You'd have to ask Amtrak for that information. I will say that when I did see the numbers and I saw them like once or twice, they were pretty impressive.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I understand the federal law and all that, but then, I guess that's it.
Got a question, Mike. First of all, thank you for your comments. Appreciate the fact that you're here with us today. And I'm going to move us away from PTC right now, but from a KDOT perspective, what is, in your opinion, is there a next step with the Heartland Flyer process? And if so, what is that?
Well, I think the first thing, and I've had a few conversations with Grayling and Amtrak, and I think this sort of this turbulence on the Southwest Chief Corridor is kind of giving them pause on the flyer. So they kind of want that to get worked out before they begin to pursue things on the Heartland Flyer. I do know Amtrak has provided estimates of their annual operating expenses on that corridor, and we're waiting on, as you pointed out, the capital improvement estimate and things like that. Honestly, I think at this point, with the Transportation Task Force kind of underway, that's the forum to have these conversations right now, and we need to see what comes out of the next legislative session in terms of transportation policy and funding from there. Does that get to your question?
It does, yeah. I'm trying to see if there's something happening that I wasn't aware of.
Yeah. The task force is in right now. It almost sounds like a dumpster answer for us. Sorry to answer that question because we have a task force. It's actually true. They are going to take a look at every aspect of our how we do business.
When was the task force established?
It was established in the past legislative session. They've kind of been at it since this summer. They should wrap up, I want to say, before the holidays, and the final report should be prepared. I believe it's due January 31 of 2019. So that's not a multi-year process that should be pulled together in the next few months. Yes,
Do you have the dates for the hearings that are left?
I do.
Somebody
Matt may know that too. That's the man.
You might take another question.
I think that's the question right now. And I can get those circulated too, Evan, if that's helpful.
Yes.
Should I just do that, Matt?
Yeah, great.
Get you off the hook for a second.
One here.
They're not testifying. It's their meeting.
I'll get that to you, Evan, we'll get that circulated.
Okay.
If there's days coming up,
May is October 24th.
Oh, wait, look at that.
Yeah, these events are statewide, so we're doing our best geographically to capture as much of the state as we possibly can.
Santa Fe runs its own private passenger train down to that corridor to Oklahoma City as fast as they want to, and they don't have a problem. I don't see why the standards are set. Are they set higher for Amtrak than the Santa Fe is for their own private trains?
That I don't know. That I just don't know. Evan, do you have a comment on that by chance?
I think that track's a pretty good show.
I think they have the liability to cover their own employees versus the general public that might be riding a passenger train. That's my guess.
Sorry.
There was talk, I don't know if you you, person addressed to that $3 million that's been withheld. What money is that for, and why is it being withheld?
That's Amtrak's portion of the Tiger 9 project.
Or the Garden City?
Correct, yeah. That's, they're withholding their portion given the uncertainty. And as Matt alluded, I think that's getting worked out.
So they might release it.
Might release it as a very good way. This just in. Right. Yeah, those are, what's the next day? 12. All right, Garden City was yesterday, and by the way, Garden City, what a fantastic community to visit, Garden City, Kansas. Wichita State in Wichita will be October 18th. That's at the Eugene M. Hughes Metro Complex at WSU. October 24th, and again, I'll send this out. October 24th is in Hayes at Fort Hays State. November 8th will be at KSU at the Innovation Campus in Olathe. Does that make sense to everybody? It's at the K-State facility in Olathe. And November 9th is the last meeting, and that is at Kansas State in Manhattan. But again, we'll get this sent out. Anything else? If not, thank you.